Hey guys, it's Tony and we're back on the bench. And this morning we are going to do a preview on a bunch of reels that I just picked up recently that I'm going to be working on. And I ran into a situation where I have a friend who has another friend who had a family member pass away recently who was an avid fisherman and a collector, for that matter, of fishing reels. And so these reels here that we have on the bench right now are going to be the first ones that I'm going to be diving into here. So we're going to take this box off the bench here for the moment because some of these are pretty big and they're all in boxes, all their original boxes here. So we're going to start here with this Quantum Tour Edition, limited tour edition here, bait caster. So original, packing and all that, and that's pretty cool. And you can see here we've got this beautiful wooden box here. Okay, and inside we've got papers, original owner's manual, and probably a schematic in here, I would believe, somewhere. I haven't looked through all of these pieces yet, but there's quite a few of them in here. We've got a bag, there's spare parts and a wrench. There's even a keychain down here, it looks like, from 1994, probably when this came out. So special commemorative type stuff. Okay, and here's the reel. Okay, nice little bait caster. Quantum is a sub company of Zebco, actually, and you can see it says Zebco here underneath, made in USA. This is a nice little reel. It's really dirty though, and it doesn't seem to have any problems. It's a little sluggish on the turns. It's not too bad, but you can see there is a little bit of corrosion pitting going on, here at the reel seat and whatnot, so it's definitely going to be in need of some cleaning for sure. Hopefully nothing more than that, but it's a nice little bait caster, for a lot of different kinds of fishing. So it's a nice little reel, but it's definitely going to be in need of some service. So I'm going to do a separate service video on that coming up soon. But just the fact that all these pieces and parts are in here is pretty phenomenal. When you're a collector and you keep all these things, that's really cool. So we're going to put that off to the side and we're going to move on to the next one. So here we've got a Penn International 965. Now I haven't worked on too many internationals, but these are great reels, and they're a great tool to have in the toolbox, if you will. But once again, we've got original box. We've got paperwork, schematics, owner's manuals, all that kind of stuff. Very cool, because a lot of the time that doesn't happen when you're working on fishing reels that come into your possession and whatnot. So this reel functions, but it has a problem here with the handle. You see these knobs are wiggling all over the place. They've been bent or bashed or something like that. They're also very sticky, which is unfortunate. So I just went on ahead already and I ordered a new handle for this. Now you cannot get the original handles, unfortunately, anymore that are gold like this. They're chrome plated, but they have the same kind of knobs, and you can get that at mysticparts.com, around 25 bucks. This reel, I mean, it's a little banged up. It's got a few little nicks and dings and stuff, but it's very usable still. So we want to make sure that we get it fixed up. Part of the arrangement that I made with my friend's friend was I was going to fix up some of these reels so that he could either sell them, or it could be determined whether or not they're even worth selling, or if they're even repairable. Thankfully, in this situation, this can be repaired. That's a pretty easy fix. Outside of that, I think everything else mechanically is okay. No problems there. We're going to strip all the line off, of course, because you don't need that old fishing line on there. But these are nice, sought-after reels that a lot of people like to use. So that's that. moving right along. We've got a Penn 113H40 Senator. So I've worked on many of these before. Anyone that's seen my videos knows that, you know, these are great reels. There's really nothing wrong with this reel. I've already looked at it a little bit, other than the fact that it does have some pretty bad corrosion damage, very typical of these reels. You know, you can see it kind of building up here on the plates and whatnot. That can be cleaned up and remedied. What we're going to do is we're going to strip all this line off here, and we're going to clean this reel up the best that we can. You know, clicker works fine. That's not a problem. It spins fine. You know, you can hear the dog, you know, spring in there working. You know, the free spool is fine. I tested the drag, and it's definitely smooth and it's working. So I think just a full service and a cleaning on this is all we're really going to have to do, and we'll be in good shape. Once again, we've got original box with original paper. The original pen paper is in here, original manual. Even the lube tube is right here, okay? Very cool stuff, okay? It's great to find original things in their original, you know, packages and stuff like that. I'd say the only problem with this is it probably should have been cleaned up a little bit better, just to prevent, you know, this corrosion damage. But, you know, when you're an avid fisherman and, you know, you're out there on the ocean and whatnot, you know, doing your thing, that's just kind of something that can happen. So I'm going to put that off to the side now. I'm going to be working on all of these reels in the weeks and months to follow, so I'd encourage you to stay tuned for that. And, you know, if you like this kind of stuff, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you know, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. That way you'll be getting all the updates as to when I got new videos coming out. So here we've got kind of a rare bird here. So this is a damn quick Royale MDS. That stands for Magnetic Drag System. Beautiful, beautiful box here. Okay. I don't know how many of these are out there, but I can tell you right now there's probably not a lot. So Damn Quick is a German company. And it actually does say made in Germany. I believe, I'll have to go back and do my homework on this, but I believe I was under the impression that this was the last series that Quick made in West Germany before they transferred over to China, I believe. I'd have to go back and do some homework on that. I'm not sure. Now, this reel had a problem that I was already able to fix. I'm still going to be doing a video on this reel, but it was seized. I could not turn this handle at all. Not 1 inch, nothing. Eventually, I just put a little bit of extra elbow grease into it, and then it did free up. Well, normally when something like that happens, that's a result of just no maintenance. And the grease, the original grease that the reel was packed with, it hardens up and it kind of turns into like a tar almost. And it's just, you know, it seizes up. You know, it's got a small, you know, set of gears in there, and it just, you know, it had to be freed up. I can tell this reel's been used, but it certainly wasn't used a lot. I think, you know, you can see there's a little bit of scratches and damage down here. It was probably used a handful of times for a few trout, you know, fishing trips or something like that, and then that's probably it. You know, you can see that the markings on the spool are kind of rubbed off here a little bit. But outside of that, this is a beautiful specimen, beautiful reel. Mechanically, there's nothing wrong with it, so that's a good thing, because I would say parts are probably impossible to find for this unless you had a parts reel. So that's, you know, that's good. Because, you know, anytime you have to hunt down parts, you know, for a reel like this, you know, you're probably going to be in for a long haul with that. But looks like we've got a replacement washer in here, like a replacement drag washer, and then a bracket right there. So nice reel. We got original documentation in here for the reel, and it's all in German. So, and there's also a book hiding back in here as well. It's probably the schematic, I would imagine. I'll probably pull that out a little later. But very, very cool stuff, you know, for a collector's item, I would say, more or less. Very nice reel, very solid. We'll put that off to the side. Now this next reel here is an interesting one. So here we've got an Avet LX41. Now these are great reels, made in USA. Relatively expensive reels, for saltwater fishing primarily. This reel has a problem, and it's a problem that I'm going to have to think on a little bit here. So in here we've got a schematic drawing, or a breakout, whatever you want to call it, which is always helpful, especially when you're working on reels that you're not familiar with. I have not worked on any Avets really, but I am somewhat familiar with them. They're very nice reels. They're built very well. But you can see here we've got a handle that I'm screwing on here, but it's got a problem. The handle knob does not spin on its own, and you see what's happening? It's coming right off. Okay, now I've already soaked this in some penetrating lubricant for a few days, and it's supposed to spin on the arbor shaft here, and it's not doing that, so that's not correct. And the only true way to remedy this, you can't really replace the knob. You have to replace the whole handle assembly essentially, and that could be costly. We're probably looking somewhere between $50 and $70 to $80, give or take a little, depending on what kind of handle assembly it is. It's all, aftermarket, customized type stuff. Work, great. You could get a T handle or a round knob or whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, how much is this reel worth? This reel honestly is probably not worth more than $150 given its current condition. I mean, it works, it's mechanically sound. I don't think it has any major issues, but it will require a full service, and it'll have to be thought about whether or not it's worth actually putting that kind of money into the reel, or if we just want to make it a parts reel. So that's one I'm going to have to think on a little bit, and we'll get back to that one eventually, and we'll talk more about that. Okay, but outside of that, nice, beautiful reel. It's in pretty decent shape for its age. But what happens with these knobs is they get swollen in here, and they get rusted as well. From the elements, and between the two of those things, they stop spinning. So it's unfortunate, but we'll look at it later and we'll see what we can do with it. One of these days I might run into another parts reel or something like that that has a handle that might fit this, so we'll see on that one. And then last but not least, at least for this batch, I've got quite a few more to do in some other videos here, but here we've got an Accurate twin drag spinning reel. So this is a SR20 twin spin here. And when my friend and I were going through all these reels that belong to his friend, he looked at this one first and he liked it a lot, and he said, he'd like to pick this one up, So this is a really nice, solid, piece of equipment here. It's just, it's like the Terminator of spinning reels, essentially, right? It's really, really solid. And Accurate is a great company. They've been around a long time. And in here, we've got schematics and we've got original documentation here. There's even a bag in here, I think, for the reel, and there's some spare washers and stuff like that. So once again, we've got all original equipment, original stuff in here, including the packaging. But unfortunately, this reel's also got a problem. The bail doesn't fire. Well, it's too bad. So unfortunately, this reel is missing a couple of pieces that make that bail fire, and they are not made anymore. And I actually spoke to one of the guys at Accurate, and they said, yeah, those are not available any longer. So having said that, this is either a parts reel at this point, or like I told my buddy, I just said, hey, if you really want the reel and you want to use it, just use it and, put the bail back manually. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a very usable reel. Okay, now value-wise, yeah, it doesn't hold as much, when this doesn't work, but when parts are obsolete and you can't find them, there's not a lot of these floating around out there, really, at least not on eBay from what I can tell. So You know, they're a very solid piece of equipment though, and it would be a shame for it to just sit. I mean, it could be a good mantelpiece, you know, for decoration purposes or something like that. But unless you can, you know, repair that and remedy that, and you can't really modify it, unfortunately, you can't put a spike bar here that will hit you know, the bail, you know, as it turns around, like, you know, some of the old, you know, Penn spin fishers and Daiwas have and whatnot. You can't really do that with this reel. It would be, it would be a lot of work, and it probably wouldn't work right in the end. And so bottom line, it's a great reel. Unfortunate that this doesn't work. But you know what? All you got to do is take your hand after you're done doing your cast and flip it back, and you're in business. Okay. So that's what I'm going to bring back to, you know, my buddy, and just tell him, hey, you know, it's a great piece of equipment. You know, you should buy it off your friend, and, you know, offer him a good price for it, you know, considering, you know, that it is somewhat, you know, broken, but it's still usable. So that's the last of the bunch, but we're going to be getting into all of these reels, doing service videos on pretty much every single one of these at some point, you know, here, hopefully in the near future. I've got at least 2 more boxes worth of other projects from this same batch of reels, and I'm going to be doing those previews here shortly as well. So thanks again for watching. This is Tony with Back on the Bench. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please make sure you do subscribe. Hit the notification button, and then that way you will be getting all the updates as to when all these new videos are coming out, and we'll be seeing you next time.